So we've got a big week ahead in crypto. We've got a big week ahead as far as the financial markets are concerned, because it is FOMC week on Wednesday, where Jerome Powell is going to dictate to the market what interest rate cuts he's going to do, if he's going to cut any. Is it going to be 25 basis points, or are we going to get a surprise 50 basis points? And how will the market react to each one? So we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at the macro as far as the dollar is concerned, as far as the S&P is concerned, as far as the Russell 2000. That's an important one. And then we're going to obviously look at all of your altcoin requests. So we've got Jasmy, Pyth, Dogecoin, SPX, DOT, and many more. So what could happen if we got a 25% basis cut next week? Does the market expect a 25 basis point cut? It's built in about a 95% probability that we're going to get that 25 basis point. What does that mean? There's a high degree of probability that we will get 25. What does that mean? That the market is forward looking, the market is leading, the market has built in a 25 basis point rate cut. So expect some volatility during FOMC, and we could get some kind of a pullback in the market unless we get a 50 basis point surprise rate cut. The market hasn't built that in yet. So if the market hasn't built that in, that means it's going to be positive for the market, create stimulus, create confidence of people going on risk. So there's two scenarios that we need to look out for, but it's going to be an important day for FOMC. But as far as the macro is concerned, we can go over what it looks like now, what to expect, all of your altcoin requests, lots to talk about, and it's going to be a big video, so let's dive in. And it is going to be an interesting one with FOMC, because one thing that you've got to think is the markets are forward looking. Like I've just said, the markets are leading, the markets are building in the 25 basis point cuts. So the market has been forward looking, and that's why we've had this pump going into the rate cut. Now, if we get a rate cut that is 25 basis points, the market has expected the 25 basis points, that's not going to create a pump in the market, because we've already built in that pump, and we're unlikely to get any kind of pump on the FOMC day unless one thing happens. We do get the 50 basis point cut. So we are going to be dictated by Mr. Powell on Wednesday. But how can you prepare for that? So what's Bitcoin doing? Firstly, it's taken back its 50 moving average. This is the daily chart, and that is 114,499. As far as the moving average is concerned, Bitcoin's sitting at 115,000. One thing we expected, and one thing you can see, is whilst Bitcoin's putting in these new swings, Bitcoin's slowing down while the rest of the market's catching up. The rest of the market's catching up to Bitcoin. And because of that, what's happening? The dominance is coming down, because Bitcoin is flatlining near a top before it makes its next move. It's deciding, it's going choppy. This is a long period of time, this. You can measure it, this range. That range is 67 days. So during them 67 days, altcoins have been catching up. And we can tell that by the dominance coming down. This is what we needed. These are all metrics and indications for my altcoin season. I said, firstly, we need a drop in dominance. Then we need a drop in the dollar. Then we need total 3 to push up towards its previous highs. We need the Russell 2000 to run. We need all of these metrics collectively to come together before I can get a confirmation of alt season. And the nail in the coffin is going to be the total 3, where we get the break, we get the close, the previous all-time high, and total 3 is testing that area now. So we're obviously getting a rejection from there. We need to pull back. We need to maintain a higher low. And then we've got enough momentum to push through. But one thing that happens with crypto is when you get the big swings, there's always a catalyst behind there. So is it going to be a 50 basis point rate cut? There's a less probability, but could that be the catalyst that drives total 3 while it's at resistance that to new all-time highs? Because if it does, that's when I'm going to start scaling out the market. I'm going to be talking about that over the coming weeks. So these are all things that we're looking at that dictate the market. The S&P 500 is continuing to put in new all-time highs. It's continuing to put in new all-time highs. We've got the drop in the dominance, the USDT dominance. That needed to come down. We'd said that. We'd drop this key level. Once we dropped this key level, that was positive for crypto. People were spending their dollars. And what were they spending their USDT on? They were spending it on altcoins. So that dropped the dominance of the USDT stablecoin, and that increased the market cap of total 3. So you can see, whilst the dollar is weak, crypto and altcoins are strong. Whilst the dollar is weak, on risk assets are strong. So that's the aim of the game, is to just look at these charts collectively to understand exactly where we are in the risk curve. Just an example, we look at the S&P. S&P's put in new all-time highs. You look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's put in new all-time highs. You look at these two now as far as the risk curve's concerned. The total 3, which is the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum, that isn't at all-time highs. That's what we're waiting for. You look at the Russell 2000. That is on risk as far as stocks concerned. So you look at the S&P, that's putting all-time highs, that's low risk. And then you look at the Russell 2000, that's high risk stocks. It's done exactly the same thing, cup and handle, come back down. V-shaped recovery going towards its all-time highs. And once that breaks through, that's showing the flow of liquidity, which is bigger than the altcoin market, by the way, into the stock market, into the high-risk stocks. So we look at these collectively to paint a picture exactly where we are in the cycle and understand next week we could get some kind of a rejection if we get a 25 basis point cut because it's already been built in. If we get a 50 basis point cut, we're breaking through these areas. We're smashing through these areas. So that could be the catalyst that sends crypto, could be the catalyst that sends crypto through these new highs as far as all on risk is concerned. So total 3, we need exactly the same thing to happen. We need to break through here. Russell 2000, we need to break through. We look at the others chart, and this is really far down the risk curve because this excludes all of your XRPs, all of your Cardanos, all of your Solanos, all of your Dogecoins. This excludes the top 10 within crypto, and then you collectively put that together against Bitcoin. You can see we're starting to outperform. So while Bitcoin's being in its top range that we said it was going to go in, altcoins are catching up. While altcoins are catching up, they're actually outperforming and eating away at the total market cap. So this is the others chart. You can see that's outperforming Bitcoin. That's rising. We've had a golden cross on there. And this is the big resistance barrier here at 0.147101. Once you get past there, you're going to get an acceleration, So this is a reversal pattern. You can see it's a bit like head and shoulders, or inverse head and shoulders, right shoulder, and then break out of the neckline and then push to the upside. So as far as the risk curve's good, it's looking positive going into next week with the caveat that we don't know exactly what's going to happen on FOMC. So we look at your altcoin requests. We've looked at Jasmy coin earlier on, so go back and watch the Jasmy coin video. Pyth, what's happening with this? Let's have a look. It's the first time I'm looking at these charts, guys, today. So Pyth, right, okay. Retracement, we've come back down. We lost the 61.8% retracement. We've come back up. We regained the 61.8. We've held that as support. So that's going to be your next support base. That is going to be sat at 0.1624. If something goes wrong on this, the good thing about it, if we had something bad with FOMC, this come back and done something like this, lower high, rejection, all the way back down to the 78.6. One thing that you've got here is not double confluence, you've got triple confluence. You've got the 78.6 support, you've got the 200 moving average, that carries a lot of weight. You've got the 50 moving average. You've got there, my friends, triple confluence. So if you get bad news, you're coming back down here, that's going to be your next support base. That's going to be a strong support base, and that's at 0.01382. If you're looking for extensions on this, this is the big pullback. These things are difficult. So you're looking for extensions on this, you're looking for your fib up here, and then assuming that this is the low, which it might not be because we said it could come back down to 78.6. You're looking for projections. You've got your 1-to-1, 28 cents. You've got your 1272 up here at 32 cents. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term on Pyth. Dogecoin next. We've got Dogecoin. It's just broken through the 38.2. That's strong. Had the golden cross down here. Price actions above. That's strong. You can see the 50s curving up, and you can see the 200 starting to curve up. So you should start seeing acceleration on this. You do get pullbacks. Are we creating a divergence? A little bit of a bearish divergence here. A little bit of a bearish divergence. Signaling potentially this thing needs to cool off. Potentially it could cool off. But the one good thing that you've got here is you've got a support base at the 38.2. First support base. If you hold that, that's going to be a strong thing because that got rejected at this point here. That got rejected there. That got rejected here. So if we break and we hold this level as support, that is going to be strong. Next, we've got this support base here. This is sat at around 24 cents, just under 24 cents. We had this big build up of price action here. That is above the 200 moving average. It's above the 50 moving average. You can see one thing with these altcoins is once they've taken back their 200 moving average, that's showing that they've got bullish momentum. That's showing that when they come back, that's a support base. And when you're above the 200 and you're above the 50, you've got two lots of support to fall back on. Stick the 20 on there as well. And I'm not going to complicate things in this one. So that's Dogecoin. That's what I'm looking for in the short term. We can deal with the swings after that, after the short term, because I'm not going to give big projections in this video, guys. I'm just looking at how you can prepare for FOMC. Because if we do get a surprise, it is a less of a probability that we're going to get that surprise that we get the 50 basis points. So why do we need to plan for it? Because if it goes wrong, you need to understand that the markets could pull back. The markets could cool off, put in those higher lows, and then coil up for the next big swing. So SPX next. Let's have a look at this. Have we had a trend breakout? Yeah, you've had a trend breakout. So because you've had a trend breakout, one thing that you can do is you can understand that this thing should hold as support. You can see that it is holding support. Your rejection point is, what do we talk about? Moving average, 50, rejected at the 50 here. So are we going to get a push down? If you get a push down, you've got two lots of support here, this area, which coincides with one thing, moving average. So you've got two lots of support to fall back on there if you do get another move and that fails that breakout. One thing you can look at is it backed up by volume? No, it's not backed up by any volume. You see it's declining, it's declining, it's declining. If you had a big volume spike here, then that would be backed up by volume, showing that you've got momentum behind the move, but we haven't, unfortunately. So you're waiting for that one. You're waiting to see how that one plays out. But we were in a bullish trend. We lost the bullish trend. You pushed to the downside. We've got these areas of support to fall back on. And if we do hold those areas of support, then we can look for higher levels. Polkadot next. Just done a dot video, guys. So go back and watch the dot video. That was yesterday. Just a little update, actually. So we've broken through this level. That's strong. The area that I said was resistance in yesterday's video is this bit here. That's what we need to break through in the short term. That's sitting at $4.65. But this is on the route now to $5, in my opinion. Once you've broke out to the upside, you're starting to hold these levels of support. We've taken out the 200, taken out the biggest area of traded volume within this range. You've taken out 50, and never guess what's going to happen. This 50, as long as we get a little bit of momentum and hold above here, within the next few days, is going to go above the 200. What's that, my friends? What is that? We know the golden cross. So that's potentially going to create a golden cross in the next couple of days on Polkadot. Manta next. This is ranging. It looks like it's broken out as well, actually. So you've got a bit of a breakout, or tiny breakout. You can't even call that a breakout, actually. To be honest with you guys, one thing that I do is people ask me, where do I put my trend lines? The more touches, the better. So you look for as many touches as possible. And you can see that this is the trend line. We've had a little break. However, that's not backed up by volume. This is overbought, which is concerning me, which means that we need to pull back. How far can we pull back? We're likely to pull back to this area here. So if we're likely to pull back to that area here, give the indicators time to cool off. We need to maintain that higher low at this structure here. That's sitting at 19 cents, just under 20 cents. So you need to hold 20 cents. If you drop this, you're dropping the 50 moving average. You're underneath the 200 moving average. From a bullish perspective, what you're doing, you're pushing up, taking back the 200 moving average, holding that as support. Then within the next few days, this 50 would push up, creating that golden cross that we've been waiting for. So projections on that. The first projections are up here, top of the range, 34 cents. This is when you get a breakout. You can see that coincides with one thing. That coincides with this shelf. So you can see how prices respected these levels as resistance, resistance, support, support. You understand that that 35, the top of this range here, is going to be your next resistance point. After that, you're looking all the way up here. The next support shelf, which is 64 cents, just under 65 cents. So you can see once you get above here, once you get your golden cross, and once you're above the 200, once you're above 50, they're holding a support. That's positive. And then you can start making the bigger swings. Right, VeChain next. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the breaker trend. We've got the breaker trend. This is good because it's taken out the 200 moving average. This thing looks strong to me because we're holding the 200 moving average. Never guess what's going to happen in the next 2 days. You're going to get what we're talking about. This 50, as long as we hold above it, it's going to create a golden cross, So that could potentially happen in the next 2 days, as long as price action, remember, as long as price action stays above this 200, that golden cross is going to be created, and that's going to show a little bit of confidence. So targets, your first target up here at 0.02957. Let's stick that on there. That's the top of the wedge pattern. Then you've got your big resistance up here at 0.03505. Once you start breaking through these barriers, you've got little resistance all the way up here, 0.076 to 0.079. That's when you start getting big swings. Not there yet. That's VeChain. ICP next. So I just done an ICP video yesterday, so I'm not going to go too in depth with this, but the area we do need to hold is $4.95 on there. So this is the biggest area of traded volume within the whole of this range. This is the chop that's been absolutely battering people on ICP. So we did want to get past this 50 on the RSI. We're dropping the 50, and we do need to hold this biggest area of traded volume now. So all eyes on ICP. If you want a more in-depth analysis, go back and watch yesterday's video. GLMR. Wow, what a mess. Let's tidy this chart up. Get rid of all that. So you can see we've got a shelf here. This is the shelf. How that was acted as support or resistance at any given time. That's going to be your big target once you break through here. You've got your 200, that's resistance. That's sat now at 7 cents. Just under 8 cents. You've got your 50 here. We've just rejected from there. 0.0724. So we need to get past these levels, and we need to get past these levels, and we need to start breaking these resistance barriers before we can start making big swings. That's the aim of the game, a big breaker trend here. Once you get a big breaker trend here, the swings are going to be big on this, on GLMR. Going to be fast, they're going to be hard. That's the next resistance barrier is going to be all the way 0.1542. Stick that on there. That was the big support shelf. We talk about this all the time. I call it the pothole effect, where you've got your support, 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 starting to make a base here, and then you get a confirmation where this area here holds a support, support. Everybody thinks that this is the bottom. Everyone thinks this is the bottom. So where do they put their stop losses? Here. What happens? All their stop losses get hit at the same time. That creates an acceleration to the downside. Then it reverses, comes back, holds, and then pushes to the upside. So you see it time and time again. Wait for a break on that one. Wait for the break. Say, this is looking positive on say. You can see we were pushing through, we got momentum. We did get rejected a couple of times before we got a big push to the upside. Like I say, we've got rejection, resistance here at 0.5187. Get my words out. 0.5187. And then you've got the next big resistance all the way up here. 75 cents. Do need to break through the ceilings and break through the ceilings before we can sit on the floor and have enough momentum to start smashing through those ceilings again. Algo. So Algo broke to the downside. What does it need to do? It's creating more of a bit of a pennant here now. So we pull the trend line up. We need a break here. We're above the 200 moving average. That 200 moving average is going to act as support. We've also got a big support base here, which is 61.8, 22 cents. And you can see that that's a big support base because we got a reaction there. We nearly kissed the 200 moving average. Didn't quite get there. The bears couldn't even push it all the way to the 200. But then we got a reaction after that, which was positive. So you got a rejection here. This is where we need to come through in the short term, hold this level of support. Then you've got 28 cents. Once you broke through 28 cents, which is this resistance point here, then you've got the 38.2% retracement, which is 32 cents. 32 cents. That's the 38.2 from this big move here. Avax next. Smashing it, absolutely smashing it. So we said the next resistance point, 32 cents. That's where I'm expecting to get a reaction from Avax. Then you've got a pullback. You can reclaim these areas as support. What are these areas? That was the previous resistance point, 27.43. So on Avax, I'm not interested because we've pushed through, we've broke through trend, we're coming to the next resistance point, and then we need to hold that as support. If I change my mind, what would make me change my mind? If we broke through here and held this area as support, then I'd be interested again. Might be a higher price, but it's confirmation and not resistance. Cardano next. Like I say, go back and watch the previous Cardano video that was done yesterday. Oh, actually, I didn't do the Cardano video yesterday. I've got it coming tomorrow where I asked AI what the Cardano price was going to be at the top. When was the top going to be? And it coincided with exactly my analysis. So I'm going to show you that tomorrow. And it is quite uncanny because the things that I asked were, what are the social metrics? What are the fundamentals? Look at the Bitcoin price, look at the macro, look at all of the cryptocurrencies, how they're trading against Bitcoin at the moment, how retail sentiment is as far as X is concerned, as far as Google Trends concerned. And then it gives me the data with probabilities and 3 different scenarios as to where Cardano could top out this bull market and what time that's going to be. So wait until tomorrow and I'm going to put that one out. So we've got the 38.2 that we broke through here, 89 cents. We need to hold 89 cents in the short term as support. support. If we do hold 89 cents, expect a continuation. So can you see how these are all geared up for a big move? They're either at resistance, they're either at support, they're all waiting, and it's probably going to go sideways for the next few days going into next week. They're all waiting for the FOMC results to come through, whether we get that 25 basis points and whether we get the 50 basis points. And the uncertainty isn't the 25 basis points. The uncertainty is how the market is going to react on the back of the 25 basis points, whether it's going to go up, whether it's going to go down. Because personally, I think because it's built in, we'll get some kind of correction. But I don't know what the interest rate cut's going to be. So let's see. Last one, XNY. This is a difficult one. So this is at the request from one of the people in the Discord. I'm not sure what this is, but all you can do is just look at the analysis that's in front of you, creating a bit of a wedge pattern, break to the upside, and then you can make another move. So one thing that you can do is stick a fib retracement tool on there. We'll do that. Retracement all the way from its high, all the way to its low. Can you see how these reactions or these levels are reactions? 38.2, that was resistance. 38.2 is going to be the next resistance barrier, and that's going to be sat at 0.015332. You've got your 61.8, 0.021305. And if you're expecting a continuation, sticking our extension levels, 1618, your 1272. That's not going to happen anytime soon. 1272, 0.037584. Your 1618, 0.04, 6201. Right, okay, that's about it from me for now. Don't forget, get yourself in the Discord group. That's where all the chart requests happen. That's where all the fun happens. That's where you can talk to me directly. That's about it from me for now, guys. I've had a busy day today. I absolutely smashed out the content for you today. I've got videos lined up for tomorrow. So I've got an exit strategy video, and then I've got obviously the AI Cardano video, which actually absolutely blew my mind. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a bit of a sore throat now. I've done so much content today, but that's about it from me for now. I'll see you in the next one.